Well, good afternoon. I'm here with newly elected Mayor Simon Yu, our first time with a year in review with a new mayor. I have a question. You are completely new to civic politics. What made you decide to run for mayor of all things?
Well, I've been here for a long time, and I looked at my age, my career, and I looked at how much this city have given to me, to my family. I have a huge family raised in the city, and I just thought maybe it is time for me to give back to the city. As an engineer, I know some of the issues the city is going to be facing in years ahead, and I just thought my knowledge in infrastructure, in planning, might be helpful in this juncture of the development of the history of this city.
Now, you ran on a campaign of dealing with the homelessness and addictions issues. Where do you feel the city is on that front?
Well, we all been trying. I mean, there's a multiple different way to look at it. This issue in terms of housing, mental illness, drug addiction. Each case is so unique, and been in this town for a long time. I see the situation last little while just getting worse, and other level of government seems they're working together, but this is fundamentally it's a file that cannot be solved at the civic level. It has to be done federally, provincially. The mental health use one time was almost is a federal file, and now it's a download to provincial. Government does not have there's too many mental hospital available. That's part of it, and with this opioid crisis, the drug issue. So at the city, we are limited. Our tools are limited. So it is very important for us to basically tell different ministry how we together can help to deal with the situation. It's not an easy one. This is gonna be the big one. I do believe it's gonna be a community rebuilding exercise. I think the 27 agency right now working downtown, we need to have an open, frank dialogue. So I had a few phone calls with the ministers and have meeting with municipal affairs, and we talk about some of the strategies. BC housing is a very important key in terms of provide housing first, but we also discussed maybe there's a way we need to take a look at the building code itself, allow more smaller building unit to be built in the right location to create a sense of a community type of setting, and people with a mental drug addiction issue may be more acceptable to going to those facilities. And so it's going to be multifaceted approach, and this is how I gotta work around. And I think private people, private enterprise around downtown, the DBIA, I would like to find a role for them to come in to help as well.
They just created a new ministry, the Ministry of Housing. And the minister is a minister who's very familiar with this part of the world, Robbie Fallon.
Yeah.
How soon do you want to sit down with him?
Yesterday, because we have a project along First Avenue. The city, we have invested quite a bit of funding towards those projects. And we still haven't not really got a confirmation regarding when the phase 2 going to start and how long this will take and what is the hold up. So I would like to meet with the minister one-on-one just to make sure that Prince George, this file is on top of the line, the top of his agenda to get it done. Because right now downtown, we basically all the social services, they're housing in the C1 zoning. I would like to see that maybe a specific zoning for social services, and for the area to provide these services might be more suitable for the downtown development as a whole. And right now the situation is not sustainable, and business downtown is suffering, and the people using these services, they are not happy either. So we need to have a dialogue with the next level of government to say, look, this model is not going to working. It's not going to work, and having not worked in the past, what is our next strategy? Yeah.
You have a big job coming up in January, actually. I mean, there was a Finance and Audit Committee meeting in December. Administration was presented with, in order to maintain services as is, 7.22% tax hike. There was a lot of conversation around that, and that administration was sent back with a mandate to come back with a mission of what's it going to look like at 3.5% to 4%. That's a significant issue to deal with.
It is a necessary exercise in terms of it is through this kind of budgetary exercise we, as an administration, which I'm head of as a mayor, I'm also head of administration, to set the priority, to see if there is the saving must be made, because due to also a reason, it's going to be a cross-board reduction, or are we going to, perhaps work very smart in terms of, for example, during the last meeting, I just learned that we use 3 inches asphalt for the sidewalks, and based on my knowledge as a civil engineer, structural engineer, sometimes 2.5 will work in certain areas, and so there, if we do our due diligence in every area, there may be a saving to be found. Having said that, the past council did face a very difficult situation due to COVID, and due to various revenue is not able to generate because of the COVID. The swimming pool is not opening, and yet we need to maintain the swimming pool, for example. Things like that. As a whole, we want to take a look. Right now we're in the post-COVID era, and during the COVID, all finances, to some degree, like every government, is distorted. The revenue side is distorted, expenditure side is distorted. And this coming year is also a labor negotiation year. So we can only get this done as a team. All the employees, the administrations, counselors, and we need to, take a look at the citizen budget, and that's how we're gonna. And that most likely there will be some. We need increase. It is just how do we deal with it, and then look at the infrastructure for the next few years. There will be some expenditure from our part as well for all the investments coming in, right? So we need to take a look at all aspects we need to comb through every line very carefully.
Question is, if 7.22 is what's required to maintain services, are you willing to cut? You need to cut.
I wouldn't commit to anything right this moment. It is my intent to, in the next month or two, to develop a economic development committee. It's an advisory committee. I would like to chair that as well. And in terms of to put some detailing, the devil's in the detail. I mean, who doing what, and what is the first step? Airport, university, CNC, and these are the important partners to tourism PG, for example. So the new flight to Tucson, things in that nature, it's all going to come together.
Final thoughts. Your goals, an actual personal aspiration for you for the next 4 years. What would you like to see what would you like to be your legacy?
My legacy?
Yeah.
Beyond the river.
Okay.
I mean, within the river, we have a beautiful downtown core. In my downtown core, I envision from the Fraser, including all the east of Queensway. And this is, it may not get it done, of course, during the next 4 years. The other thing is the plan, a visual plan of the city in the years to come will be visualized by all citizens, from the kindergarten kids to everybody knows this is we are in some kind of trajectory. This will become a global important city, perhaps 250,000 people, 300,000 people. But in order to do that, we need to ask all of us a question: to be a beautiful Prince George or not to be? And with that in mind, I move forward, and in 4 years' time, let's see.
Yeah, well, there you have it. I really appreciate you sitting down and chatting with us.
Thank you.
All
Thank you
right.
very much.
And good luck into the new year.
Thank you.
There you have it. Thank you very much. Well, I'm here with Chief Darlene Logan of the Clayton Hadi.
Hadi.
So let's start with probably, we're looking at the kind of the year in review. One of the most significant events, I think, that happened on the National Indigenous Peoples Day, and that was a declaration that was made in Clayton Memorial Park. Tell me about that day.
Well, it's a declaration we've been working on for a very long time, and it was actually one of our band members who we hired to do it, a lawyer in Victoria, I think she is. So, and we finally got it finalized, summarized, and we thought that was a perfect day because everyone, First Nations are in the spotlight this past 2 years, and so we thought this was an opportune time for us to put out our declaration saying this is our unceded territory, this is ours, we've been here from the beginning, we're not going anywhere. You want to do big business in our territory, you got to come see us. So.
What did that mean for the, your entire First Nation, the elders and everyone?
I think it was long overdue. It was because we went through the treaty, and they offered us little plots of land, but this is saying this is ours, and the elders were the ones that I talked to, that they were so happy and so proud to say, like, basically, you drew the line in the sand, and now everyone knows this is our territory. So
yeah,
it's recognition.
I was sitting in this room actually with you and at the time Katrina Conroy, who was the forest minister at the time. That is a significant announcement, a woodlot license for you. What does that mean for you, like financially, economically?
Financially, economically, well, 2 years ago, we officially took over our own logging company, and they're doing extremely well. And we had a lot of doubters out there because we've always had partners, so we finally went independent. And when our logging company, Glenn, heard, he's like, wow. And when I talked to Canfor and stuff, like, they asked me what I wanted to be, and I said I wanted our logging company to be #1 in the north. And this is economic development. We have the forestry, then we can get into reforestation, we can get into select logging, we can to something to bring. We have control. That's the main part, is that we have control.
So where is that at now? Where are we in the process now?
In the process, like with all government stuff, it's not very slow. But it's working, just about finalized, and then our crew will be happy, and the main thing, we need to bring the animals back. So that's one of my main goals, to work with our forestries and get the animals back. We have moose. Like, I talked to some people from Vancouver, and they're like, in the forest industry, and they're like, you have a moose problem? And it's huge. We don't have any. And so this gives us the opportunity to do it right.
Interesting. Very interesting. This was the year, residential schools. It has been the year for residential schools, and you have personal experience with that. You talked about your mother. You talked about, Clifford. It's a big deal.
It's a huge deal, and it's no longer a secret.
Yeah.
It's no longer a subject that's taboo and nobody talks about. There's been a lot of healing going on in this past year, and a lot of like I've always told everybody, take 5 minutes to read, and everyone's coming together, and it's a healing process. It's going to take forever, but it's what happened there, and people actually coming up and saying, I had no idea. And then I talked to the elders, and it's like it's a taboo subject that they can talk about and not be ashamed of talking about it. Like that was really hard for them to, because like kids in the abusive situation, they always blame themselves. Now it's out there, and I think it's going to be a long journey, but a positive one for them to heal.
For you too?
Yes. With personal experience, I've known some of the stories, and I wish the ones that were my mother, my other aunts, and my uncles, the ones that really had the abuse, were able to speak about it back then. They didn't. Like, just little snippets of information came out. But with my other uncle, like my Uncle Clifford, he'll come out, he can tell him what happened. But with Uncle Clifford, what you love about him is that the abuse happened, but you talk about the positives in it. So there's put a positive twist to it, like hockey. He loves hockey. He played hockey. I have pictures of him with my granddaughter when she was 3, and he was teaching her how to skate. So it's the positive. The positive is the friendships that came out of it, what they learned, like his passion for hockey, and helping other people. And I think that's what they got to start focusing on more now, instead of just like the abuse that happened, what they went through and stuff. It's out there. It's a release, because a lot of them kept them secret for a long time. So I think now, like as Uncle Clifford, as a spokesperson, they can start focusing on the positive of the friendships, the lifelong friendships.
Is that the direction you're hoping this can go?
I'm hoping that we can go that way. Just think of the positives, and we still have a lot of Catholic members, which is, like I've said before in the past, like the Bible had nothing to do with this. It was the person, the people that ran these, was humans that ran these schools. And they have, like, the religions, like they can, I had somebody say, how can a elder still be Catholic? And I have to tell, it's not the Bible, it wasn't the religion, it's what the people that were there that took care of them.
This has been a year of partnerships. Speaking of, so there's a long laundry list. There's, the McLeod Lake. Let's talk about that. The educational side of that partnership with McLeod Lake Indian Band. Describe it.
Oh. Well, this started many years ago with I remember we worked on the LEA together with McLeod Lake and School District 57, and it took about a year, and it's been growing ever since then. It was 5 years. To me, it was like when I heard we had to renew it, and I'm like, it's been 5 years. I
know.
But with both of our education teams working together is very powerful. It's very, very powerful, and they're moving forward, and their goal, everyone's common goal, is to educate the kids, educate them, and I think they're working on so much. They're extremely well. They're like the education, the language, getting our books, that we have language books into schools. And with McLeod Lake, because the languages are so close, right? So
I was going to say, how important is that because the Catholic is a kind of an oral tradition. It's an oral language. To put that to try and convert that into print must be like language is so significant.
Oh, it is. Like we've lost it. Like some of our elders still speak it, and to get it out there to the kids when they're little sponges is this is the time to get them, and they're fun words. Like some of like huddy, right? And okay, I gotta go because I'm Native. I have to tell you a little story. My sister, when she was little, First Nations would walk by her and like huddy, huddy, and she was little, so she thought they were saying howdy, so she'd go howdy.
That's brilliant. Okay, next one. City. You made a presentation to the city recently, to the council, and it's a new council now.
Yes.
But there's still that kind of relationship that you've tried to forge. Now, you and I have talked about this before. The relationship between the city, the regional district, and the Klitlihtene has been around for a long, long time,
Yes.
and probably more significant than many other communities in BC. Tell me about that relationship. I mean, it really came to life during the 2015 Canada Winter Games, I think.
Yes, that's when it really came to life there. But it has been going on for years. Like when Domo was in chief, when Domo first got in for chief, the mayor would come out and it just and I thought it was just normal, right? Because I was just starting out in the band office, start working there, and the mayor would come out and regional district would come out and they'd have lunch and stuff. And to me, when I first started, that was normal. And it just is growing more and more and more. And then we just recently did the land declaration, or not declaration, land acknowledgement to both of them, both regional district and the city. And the relationship has grown to, like I said before, like I've talked to other First Nations and they're telling me about their issues, and I ask them, well, what did your mayor say? And they say, well, we can't even get a hold of him. He won't see us. And I was like, really? That's when I have an issue, I can just text the mayor. So
Speed dial.
Speed dial, pretty much, yeah.
Now we have another one, Chamber of Commerce. That was kind of a recent venture. I'm not familiar with it. Tell me about that. With the Chamber of Commerce.
So the Chamber of Commerce has given us a lifetime membership with them, and we met, and we met at the hall, and they presented us with that, and I said, okay, so there was supposed to be an agenda, and I just took the agenda off, and I said, no, partnerships, friendships don't have an agenda. So we've been meeting every 6 months or so, go have dinner and talk about, and with the commerce, what everyone's main goal is Prince George. Grow Prince George, bring in businesses, bring in tourism, highlight Prince George as a one, like First Nations and all the First Nations, because we're not the only one, because this Prince George is gathering place, and all the businesses, and how to promote Prince George and make it a fun place to come, which it is.
Well, last thing, very quickly, I think we have a few seconds left here. The Moccasin Walk. That was a result of COVID, not being able to go do the sun run, but now it's kind of become your thing.
It has now become, instead of spending money bringing everyone to Vancouver, we figured we would keep it at home, keep it local, so members here that couldn't go to Vancouver can join in. And all the money raised is going to our Elder Society, which was newly formed a year and a half ago. And it's fun to get to come out and tour the reserve and raise money for the elders, and it's way easier than the sun run. Because you're on a nature walk.
Exactly.
And not on a concrete jungle.
This has been a pleasure, Chief Logan.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate you taking the time.
And I can't believe it's already been a year.
Yeah, it has. Amazing, eh?
Yes.
Anyway, that's a wrap for the year in review with Chief Logan.